Welcome back to HESN Football Podcast number 23. Dan Mooney, Jesse Card, Steve Johnston, Kyle Ball, and a host of others, all of our HESN crew here for the podcast. We talked about football and CAFA and the Quebec Bowl before the break, and we're going to talk about it at length now. It really is a unique program, indigenous to only in CAFA and Quebec. Interprovincially, Ontario versus Quebec at the minor football level is a brand new novel concept, and Gawain Harding, the Vice President of Programming for the National Capital Amateur Football Association, joins us. Gawain, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
I got to say, the first time I came on this, it was a wake-up call for me because I've been going to the gym 4 times a week because I swear to God I looked like I weighed 400 pounds.
I didn't think so, man.
Oh, I did.
Well, the camera does add a little.
It does add, so I've been going a good life.
Okay.
So I'm getting into shape, but thanks to this show.
Okay.
See how it changes lives?
That's good to know.
It changes, our podcast changes lives.
So what do you got going? The elliptical? What do you?
I do 4 different things. I do a little bit of yoga. I do the body pump. I do the spin, and I do a day on my own.
Oh, you got to do the hot yoga. Apparently,
hot yoga's good?
Apparently,
Okay.
it's 115 degrees in the room.
I love it.
So you're bound to sweat some of it off.
Some of it out, I know.
Get
Okay.
the toxins out. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, this show, I'm back, and hopefully by about 3 years, you'll all actually be in shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it won't be 115 degrees outside when Ontario and Quebec teams play for the Quebec Bowl Championships. And Gowan, you're instrumental in bringing this to NCAFA. What an opportunity for these kids.
Listen, it's going to be huge. We've been talking about that. I think people in Montreal now, we had to be quiet about it because you don't want to say that something's going to happen and it doesn't end up happening. But we've been talking about this with the league officials over there since January. Even before January, we had kind of ideas. So we've been negotiating rules, where we're going to play the games, players' eligibility. So we have some really nice documents. But I think they're getting excited, and I hope that everyone in the CAFA gets excited because this really is 2 cities.
I'm pumped.
I've been involved with the Vikings in those Quebec leagues. I know the Montreal Regional Football League, which is the Peewee team, the Quebec Bantam League team, and the Quebec Midget League. These are quality organizations. And the thing is they share the same sort of problems we share.
Right.
And this is what we're doing. We're expanding our base. We're getting stronger. They're getting stronger. And I think when the coaches come down to see our facilities, and it's going to be a continuous dialogue. I'm thinking this is like the Summit Series 72.
Wow.
No one really understands what the other guy has to offer. But in retrospect, when you look at 72, we had a lot in common, right? We had the hockey and we wanted to do better. How much did Canadians learn from the Russians in our game?
Right.
It changed. They learned a lot from us. So to me, this is going to be great. Like the rankings, I saw the rankings, and I kind of went, oh my God, how are people going to respond to this? But here's the deal. We'll know at game day. Right?
Yeah, well, for sure.
But we can't just be the game. This has got to be like a 4 or 5 year relationship, and hopefully a 20-year relationship.
Putting this together must have, you mentioned you've been working on this since January.
Yeah.
It must have been a logistical nightmare. What were some of the hurdles that you had to overcome in order to get this thing to fruition?
The big hurdle, and it's a legitimate concern on the part of the Montreal Regional Football League. They have weights in their league where if you're at Peewee and you weigh over a certain amount of weight, I forget what it is.
Used to have it in NCAFA
exactly,
too.
And we got rid of it 10 years ago. But in Quebec, let's say you weigh over X amount of pounds, you can only play O-line. So it wasn't about moving kids up there, but we don't have that. And that was a real no-go for us because we didn't want to have kids who had been playing D-line all season long to be told, well, you're overweight.
Right.
And to me, that's a huge stigma. I remember the days where we used to have kids running on garbage bags before we went down to the arena to weigh them.
135 pounds, 130 pounds was the weight limit in Peewee when I played in the 70s, and they gave you 5 pounds grace.
Okay, right. So we got rid of that, and our game is stronger and better. We're not pushing these kids away. If I was playing senior ball, I'd probably have to lose some weight right now. But
you are.
I am losing weight.
You got a little yoga.
But that's no good. That's no good to a 12-year-old.
No.
You push them away because, especially our sport needs those big boys, right?
Well, and I think our society has gotten a lot more sensitive in the last 10 years
about
with
it.
social media and sharing and the visibility that people's lives
So,
they're sharing their lives online now. You can't have kids running in garbage bags.
And that was a huge concern for them, and legitimately so, because it's an unknown.
Yeah.
They were worried that we would have that 170, 185-pound quarterback, running back combo and all. It's pound, 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 which, we sometimes happen in our league, right? But most teams don't do it. And so they were worried. So that was a big concern that we had to go down and sort of, take the fear out of it.
Right.
And so now they're coming down and they're going to see it. And hopefully maybe they learn something from us. They also play 4-down football. There's no convening. Kids can play both ways. So for the championship game, we said, okay, well, we're not bringing weights in, but we'll play the rest of your rules. So for all the coaches out there, it's going to be 4-down football, nose to nose on the line.
No 1 yard.
No 1 yard. The rest of the rules are the same, except for at Peewee and Bantam. In those first 3 downs, you have to pass once in your first three series. If you don't, the ball is stopped and you come back 5 yards.
Oh, it's a penalty if you don't
what
throw.
What they're doing, which we don't really do, is they're encouraging quarterbacks. They're growing slot backs. They're growing tight ends. They're growing everybody. They're growing the game because you have to pass, and that starts in their league at Tyke, Mosquito, Peewee, and Bantam.
Right.
Now the only section is you got to get into real detail, right? Because they've been doing it for a long time. Once you get into the red zone, that you can do anything you want.
Right.
Now.
Right.
So this is going to be a little bit of a learning curve for us, which is, our coaches, hopefully you realize 3-down football, 4-down football is a little different.
Right.
So you can't just run the same playbook.
Well, I think it also I look at this kind of, whoever wins the Ottawa City Championship in those divisions and goes on, I think NCAFA should give them all the support that they need, including maybe a guy in the OC's ear to say, remember, you got to pass.
You got to pass, right? You got to be remembered. And so I'm looking forward to maybe we'll learn some things, because I know convening is really a contentious issue in our league.
Yeah.
It's always a problem. Mm-hmm. And I'm a president, so I'm only one voice. So this is from me as a president right now. And all I'm saying is I don't like the idea that I have to police the other team to make sure they get their kids in. That should be up to that organization and those groups of parents.
But will you? In the event that they don't comply with the rules, would you police it?
Well, I'm saying I don't think I've ever heard of a game in my 15 years in the CAFA being overturned over a convening issue. It's really meant to keep the spirit of the game.
True.
Right? It's meant to keep people honest and to keep coaches grounded in that they should be playing all of their players.
Right. That being said, how competitive will the UNCAFA teams be against Quebec?
Well, put it this way. So we took a Peewee team down to the MRFL, I think, 5 years ago. We were probably a 6-2 NCAFA team. We went through that season. We ended up 3-7.
Wow.
So I'm not saying that we would have been 3-7 in NCAFA or 7-3 in NCAFA. The reality is I've seen both. I've seen the Bantam. My son played Bantam. My other son played Midget. We're in for some good games. I mean, this is, like I said, this is Russia, Canada. Like, we better not underestimate them.
When and where is this?
This is November 19th at Carleton University.
Which is a Sunday.
Carleton.
Which is a Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, which is a Carleton. So we've got Carleton University. There's a $5 admission charge to help cover some of the costs. I think the games start around 2 o'clock. It's going to be a fantastic day of football.
In all 5 divisions?
3 divisions.
3 divisions.
Three
So,
divisions.
Peewee, Bantam, Midget.
Okay.
There was talk about Mosquito, and this is negotiations, right?
Right.
But they were very worried about the weight at Mosquito, so they voted not to bring the Mosquitoes in, even though some of their member clubs wanted to do it. So maybe we're going to organize something on the side between someone down there who wants to do it and one of our clubs that wants to do it, just to be involved. The only problem is the date, the 18th. So we finish, I think we have a 2-week layover.
Right.
Because they don't have their provincial championship.
Which we should talk about. That could be a big advantage
we get
for
to go,
the NCAFA clubs.
They'll be able to heal up.
Heal up, maybe get some film work done on the opponent.
Their
If they're exchanging film.
Yeah, their championship
the plan
games.
is to everyone gets everything.
Their championship games are the week before. So I think any team that is going to the game better send some coaches down to Montreal and to take a look, because My son, who went on to play CIS for a year, he learned how to watch game films with Sun Youth. He learned in that league. They had a 2-hour Friday night session with game film. I mean, his coach played in the CFL. I mean, we're talking about great staffs, great staffs.
Oh, yeah. Well, you took me through there when we went to Montreal a couple weeks ago. The facility is right out of Rocky 3, where he's training and he takes everything back to the ghetto. It's awesome. And they've got a wall of fame with all the players that have come through there that have either gone to the CFL, the NFL
NCAA.
In some cases, or the NCAA or CIS. It's impressive. It's inspiring to see. And that stuff's important for kids to have those facilities and those organizations to, give these kids. We were talking about goal setting earlier. If you know it's possible, some kids just like the light bulb goes off in their head and they set themselves on a trajectory to go conquer the world. And listen, I mean, it's awesome.
We all know coaches, right? If I play against a great team and there's 3 or 4 players on that, and I'm talking to a CEGEP coach if I'm from Montreal, and I go, you got to see these guys from Ottawa. There's number 12, number 15, number 16, and I know our coaches are going to be doing the same. Was Carleton and Ottawa. Hey, there's guys in Montreal, man. You got to see this quarterback.
More visibility, more opportunity.
And it's going to be big, and I'm hoping that we get a lot of university coaches out because most of these teams should be done. And they can come out, they can watch the games. And this is all about, again, exposability, creating excitement. I'm looking forward to the work you guys are going to do, pumping that out.
Well, that's it. Like if we'd love, obviously, Ottawa, you and Carleton will be there. Maybe Pat Sheehan from Queens will be there. He's always good at coming to these events. But we're going to, like we did with the Midget Showcase, we're going to send out information about where to see these kids play and the live broadcast. We're going to have Carleton, so we're going to have the proper facility to be able to run the broadcast. It's really just good all around that what's happening here. And my hat's off to you for really driving this thing.
Well, listen, I know both sides, and I know, like I said, we both leagues or there are multiple leagues face the same problems. We face high school ball. We lose players. We've got to get excitement going.
Is the rule the same in Quebec?
Oh, the rule, the one-team rule in Quebec has been there for as long as I've been around, 20 years.
And how has that affected high school and minor football?
It's, again, the stronger programs tend to do well. In Gatineau, for example, everyone says, you guys should have 3 or 4 teams. And I say, well, hold on. In my area of Quebec, there's 14 high school teams. And there's us. There's 11 high school teams for 1 million people. There's 14 high school teams for 300,000 people.
Wow.
So we struggle. We lose a lot of players, but it's a free market. Kids are going to go where they want to go, and I'm fine with that. Let's make this product the best product we can make.
Well, we just took a huge leapfrog step here with this because the power rankings having North Shore at number 2 in the Midget division and Norseman number 1, that I would only think if I'm a coach from Norseman or a player, the stakes just got upped a lot. We have an unknown guy that's on the heels of this undefeated Norseman team. The pressure's on to actually say, okay, you're going to, you went undefeated this season. They got one more game, and Kyle will probably be able to tell me who they're playing next. Is it Norseman? Who are they playing this weekend?
Norseman this weekend, they're playing.
But if they're playing the Bengals, we could probably assume that that's going to be another win for them. They're going to go undefeated.
Norsemen are going to have to get some real have to really thrive or just absolutely dominate at the skill positions against a Quebec team, I think. Otherwise, I don't think they're going to have a lot of success. We saw them against the Nepean Eagles on Showcase Day, and both offenses looked a little wanting.
Well, I think if you look at the Midget League this year, the true quarterback probably in that whole division is the Myers quarterback who played with you, Avery.
In the Quebec League.
In the Quebec League. And, so I look at Myers. They're a threat. I think they could turn it on in the playoffs. Anything can happen. We've seen this year after year. Like, Norseman is probably got to be very careful because – the Giants last weekend gave them a run for their money. They were about 3 quarters. They were coming back. They started to get their offense going. They maybe just ran out of time, and they could have beat the Norsemen last weekend. So this puts some extra pressure that, yes, getting through the City League is one thing and winning a midget championship here, but then you've got to also you're working towards this bowl game where you've got to prepare, because if like Gawain said, if you underestimate these guys, there'd be nothing worse than just getting whooped in this game.
Which is the same thing. Like you said, I mean, drawing a conclusion to the 72 hockey series, it's really, really interesting. As far as I know, this is the first time that provincial borders have been crossed between Ontario and Quebec. Is this going to be the model for other minor football associations across the country to perhaps put together something that may resemble a national championship?
Well, I know they tried it a few years ago. It was the Litzen Bowl, I think it was, right? And it didn't really work. And I personally think that this model in Ottawa, where we always look at Toronto for our OVFL.
They are the center of the universe. Just ask them.
But we've got this huge metropolitan region down the street. I think it's the sixth largest metropolitan region in North America, right? There's 3 million people in there, and we're not doing anything with them.
And they're 2 hours down the road.
2 hours down the road. So if I was going to run a club, like for me to go to Montreal for a game, it's like $600 or $700 for a bus. If I want to go to Toronto, I'm tripling or doubling that, right? Depending on the day, because now I need a coach, I need all this kind of stuff. So I don't know if it can be replicated elsewhere. But I know that this should be an example. So I don't know if Calgary, Edmonton has something like this.
Right.
I don't know, right? Maybe Manitoba, someone else. Who knows?
Manitoba, Saskatchewan.
Right? Exactly. But, wouldn't it be great if we could get our schedules on sync, where the winner of this, you will call it Eastern Canada Bowl, maybe gets to play someone from the West at a mini Grey Cup.
Well, for that to occur, and I think that's the right thing we want. What I think that the game has kind of gone through in the last little while is these showcase combine type things where, people, the Ontario Prospects Challenge, they're getting kids to come in, they're trying to sell it like it's a big event and that you're going to get a lot of exposure. Yeah. At the end of the day, the thing that's great about football is that you're put together with a bunch of kids from a neighborhood. Yeah. You're made to dedicate yourself to this team, make it as good as you can, fill in a role wherever you're best suited to be a role, put a team together, go through a season together, do what you can. If you're lucky enough to be on the championship side of that season, then you get to play another team. I think what we're doing is we're actually making an event with like the way football was designed and meant to be played. So not an all-star team, like the team that you have from your neighborhood. So
we took a team, last thing I'll say about it, we took a team down to the Challenge Wilson, Spalding Cup in Montreal. And Dan Lachance, who's president of...
Which is a summer league.
It's a summer tournament. It's a one-week tournament. Regional teams from Quebec. So the all-star team of the Montreal Regional Football League was there, for example. Mm-hmm. And a few other leagues and high school leagues. I'll tell you something. Dan, who's a big OVFL guy and now is the OPFL, we played that first team from Montreal Metro, and he said, this is the best U15 team I've ever seen. Period. This team would win the OPFL, hands down.
There you go.
That's how strong they were. They were 55 kids deep.
Wow.
And when you play the North Shore this year, they're not coming with 12 kids. They're going to be 45 to 50 players who can all play football.
Nice.
So we better be ready. That's all I'll say.
You hear that, Norseman?
We better be ready.
Should be a great day. Gawain Harding, thanks so much for dropping by. Really pleasure talking to you, and we look forward to seeing how our kids are going to do against Quebec.
This is the challenge.
The Quebec Bowl goes November 18th at Carleton University. The best Peewee, Bantam, and Midget football players from the National Capital Amateur Football Association and Quebec go at it at Carleton University. Don't go anywhere, folks. Kyle Ball is coming back with our NCAFA Power Rankings after this.
William Murder in the beat.